Well, everybody, the NCAA finally won a court case. But a group of athletes who were back on rosters, back at practice, just got told they're done. If you're in the middle of this recruiting process right now, you really need to understand this. This is about your son or daughter's roster spot, too. And if you're new to this channel and you don't know me, my name's Keith Mondillo. I'm entering my 32nd year as an NCAA Director of Athletics and head college basketball coach. And I've been reporting on this eligibility fight for weeks now. And as you probably heard, because this all broke yesterday and everybody's talking about it on social media, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals made its decision. The NCAA won the appeal, and the athletes who are competing under that injunction are no longer eligible. But before we get into what this actually means for your family, I want you to go and grab my free College Recruiting Jumpstart Pack. The link is in my description below, or just go visit keithmondillo.com. It'll walk you through exactly where to start, no matter what grade your child is in right now. So let's break all this down. Back in July, a federal judge in Colorado ruled in a case called Wisne versus the NCAA. That ruling gave a class of Division I athletes, kids who graduated high school in 2022, and already used up their 4 years of eligibility, a fifth season to play. The NCAA had already built the new age-based eligibility rules. Those rules gave athletes 5 years to play 5 seasons based on age and not based on this lawsuit. But the NCAA did not apply that new rule backward to cover the 2022 class. And that's what this whole fight has been about. The NCAA appealed, and yesterday, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals stepped in and stayed that injunction. That means the rules go back to what they were before the Colorado judge ever got involved. The age-based eligibility is back in effect right now, today, as the Division I membership intended. And here's the part that matters most for families watching this. Any athlete who was allowed back on a roster because of that Colorado ruling is no longer eligible to compete, effective immediately. And that's really unfair to those kids. All right, I want everybody to understand this and take note. NCAA President Charlie Baker said it plainly a few weeks ago before this ruling even came down. He described exactly what we're watching play out right now. A patchwork of inconsistent court decisions creating different treatment depending on which courthouse an athlete happens to walk into. Here's what that means for your family. Right now, some athletes in states like California, Georgia, Louisiana, and Tennessee still have separate court orders letting them play. Those aren't touched by this ruling. An athlete in one state can be playing a fifth year, and an athlete with the identical situation in another state cannot. And here's the part that tells you that this is far from over. The NCAA is already expected to use Friday's ruling as ammunition against those state court cases. The 10th Circuit agreed the NCAA is likely to win this fight overall, and that gives the NCAA a stronger argument when it goes after California, Georgia, Louisiana, and Tennessee next. There's already an Ohio case that got paused the same way on appeal. This is not close to being finished. Remember this. College athletics right now does not have one consistent national rulebook. It has a legal system fighting it out state by state, court by court. And that instability trickles all the way down to your son or daughter's recruiting timeline, whether anyone in the media is talking about that or not. All right, I want to tell you a real story that happened today. I specifically talked to a Division I administrator, and they told me about a soccer player who practiced the last few weeks, played in a scrimmage, and played in a real game the other day, and now is ruled ineligible. That's important to understand. And that's not fair to that young adult. They built their whole season around this. School, housing, training, all of it. Regardless of what you think, this is affecting kid in college right now. And here's the other side of it. And this is just as real. Somewhere on that same roster, there was probably a true freshman or transfer who didn't get a spot or got bumped down the depth chart because that older athlete came back. That athlete lost an opportunity too. There isn't a clear winner in this. So whatever side of the debate you're on, Real young people are dealing with the legal fight that they didn't create or didn't want. Now let's talk about what this actually means for you, the family, and the recruiting process right now going forward. Right now, this day relieves some of the pressure. It takes a chunk of those extra year athletes back off Division I rosters, which frees up some spots that were jammed up. But don't think the roster logjam now just totally disappears. The 5-year eligibility model itself is already creating tighter rosters for incoming freshmen, and that's not going away. We talked about that before, and I'm going to talk about it more in the future. If you have a son or daughter that's graduating high school in 2027, you need to understand this. I know several Division I athletes right now who are staying for their extra year next season. So unless a player leaves through the transfer portal, that roster spot simply isn't going to open up. It's already filled by someone who isn't a true freshman anymore. This same pressure is going to hit Division II next. Rosters are going to get tighter there too. Division III is a little different because Division III isn't limited by roster caps by the House settlement that Division I schools have to abide by. And then there's no scholarship budget ceiling like Division II has to deal with too. That's why I keep telling families, Division III might be the real opportunity. If your goal is simply to get on a roster and compete at the college level, well, that door is open wider than people realize at Division III. What you do with that opportunity once you're on that team, well, that part is entirely up to you. Here's what I want you to take from all this chaos. The rules are shifting. The courts are involved. Roster spots are a moving target. And if your family's just starting this process, all of that can feel completely overwhelming. That confusion is exactly why I built the college recruiting on-ramp system. Think of it as orientation for the entire recruiting process. It's not about reacting to headlines like this one. It's about knowing your plan no matter what the NCAA, the courts, or anyone else does next. Inside the system, you'll get 4 guides: the athletic recruiting roadmap, the parents recruiting survival guide, don't pick the wrong school, and the on-ramp implementation guide is where all of it turns into action, building your target list and tracking your progress. I didn't write these because I needed another project. I wrote them because I've sat across the table from hundreds of families over my 31 years and watched good students, good kids lose opportunities simply because no one explained how any of this actually works. That's the transformation I want for your family, not confusion. I want you to be in control. One more thing before we wrap up. If this case keeps getting appealed, well, the next stop is the United States Supreme Court. But here's what a lot of people get wrong about that. Getting to the Supreme Court isn't automatic. Whoever loses at the 10th Circuit has to petition the Supreme Court to even hear the case. And the court can simply just say no. I know a lot of people watching are going to assume that the Supreme Court leans conservative. So that must mean the NCAA is a safe. Well, I'm going to push back on that just a little bit because the history doesn't actually support it. Back in 2021, the NCAA took an antitrust case all the way to the Supreme Court. That case was called the NCAA versus Alston. The court ruled against the NCAA 9-0. Every justice, conservative and liberal, sided against the NCAA's restriction. Justice Kavanaugh, one of the more conservative voices on that court, wrote his own opinion saying the NCAA's business model looked like exactly the kind of price-fixing antitrust law was built to stop. So don't assume politics decides this one. Antitrust law doesn't split cleanly along conservative or liberal lines the way people think it does. If this does end up in front of the Supreme Court, watch the legal arguments and not the political labels. So here's what I'll tell you today. Don't panic over this ruling. Don't panic over the next one either, because there will be a next one. Get your family oriented, get a plan, and stop letting the headlines dictate your strategy. Now remember, go grab your free college recruiting jumpstart pack in the description to take your first step today. And if you're ready to go all in on a real plan, go check out the college recruiting on-ramp system. The link is right there also. And again, I am not a recruiting service. I'm an educational organization that guides families just like yours through the college athletic recruiting process. Take care, have a good weekend, and we'll see you in the next video.